Hello, you beautiful people out there. What is going on? This is your friend Birdie coming at you fast with another Paragon discussion video. And today we are going to be talking about version 41, the big one, as some people like to call it. Nobody fucking calls it that. I just said it just to sound cliche. I'm never doing that again. I'm sorry. But today we're going to be talking about the patches, the nerfs. There's so much shit going on. This, for the most part, really awesome. I really like the changes, except for one thing. We're going to really focus on it today. But first off, let's talk about Wraith. So my final opinions after playing him quite a bit, my final opinions on him right now as it stands, I like to call him the new Kalari. He's fun, he's really cool and really specialized with his kit. He's really fun to play. I just don't see him fitting in the current quote-unquote meta, even though, you know, there's no ranked mode in the game, whatever the fuck, people still say that shit. And he just gets outclassed by other mid laners, by a Bellica, by a Gideon. You know, he just doesn't have the wave clear. He doesn't have the team fight capability. He's like a second support, which maybe you just gotta play him a bit differently, really, in that sense. But as it stands right now, I personally am not a big fan of him. Like, even in offlane too, I'm still not that big of a fan of him. I'd prefer having a fighter, like a tankier kind of person. I feel he's very specific, and you need a very specific comp to be built around him for him to be very effective. Not to say he's a bad hero. His kit is very useful, but using his ultimate at the right time is also another tricky thing, and I don't think people have really found a good use for it. So we'll see how it works. He does scale better in auto attack damage than any other caster. Doing some jungle jog action in front of the no river buff because I hear Kwang on the other side, and I think that he will find his place soon, but right now I just don't see a good spot for him. So that's my 2 cents on Wraith. You guys can let me know what you think in the comment section. This is a discussion video after all. But let's talk about the thing that's more so on my mind, and that's this cute little beauty that's tethered up, or was tethered up to me. That's FaZe. Bro, what happened? Epic. What happened, dude? You nerfed Revenant. He's normal now. He's not completely unplayable, but he's normal. You nerfed Morigesh. I haven't seen her once yet. I literally have not seen a single Morigesh yet. I think she's dead, guys. I think Epic nerfed her into the fucking ground. Honestly, didn't even think she needed a nerf. I was only saying what I said earlier about the nerfs because that's what I kept hearing from community members. Most people that I, affiliate with or talk with, they would agree with me that it's not that big of a deal. Or she wasn't that big of a deal, but for some reason, I don't know, dude. I think they just overdid it a bit. I think the mana, they either needed to do one or the other. They needed to do less damage or more mana cost, and they did both. And I think that was a mistake. I think doing the more mana cost was the smart thing to do, and just leave the damage where it's at, because she's supposed to be able to get kills. She's supposed to be able to do damage. Now she doesn't do shit. But going back to FaZe, FaZe got a quote-unquote nerf, which I don't really think is much of a nerf. So let's talk about it. So, FaZe, the nerf was that her range on her tether was lower. That was the biggest nerf, right? The range on her tether was lower, so she could be closer to the team fight, so she could be picked out in a team fight, more easily. And it works. It does help. I've noticed that. I've noticed it's very easy to find the FaZe in the team fight. Way easier now, even with the little change in units. And I've noticed that it's pretty good. But they changed it to where when she casts an ability through her tether, the health regen, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's any ability. I don't think it's just her tether where when she pulls somebody. I think it's any of her ability that gives health regen, right? The health regen doesn't last for 2 seconds, it lasts for 4 seconds now. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's twice as much healing, which was probably the biggest problem that people had with her. So now, she could stack Cast Converter, she could put Barrier of Will, she could put Quenching Scales, and all of her abilities, all of her regen is doubled. Even though the range on her tether is lower, all the healing is still doubled. I feel like there was more of a positive outcome than a negative outcome to it. And I'm not one to really complain about FaZe as much as a lot of other people do. I see a lot of people being like, oh my god, she's OP. The fact that they changed her blind back to 2 seconds, not back to 2 seconds, but down to 2 seconds, is fantastic. I noticed the difference being Chimera diving into team fights. It's definitely nice. It's perfect. I think 2 seconds is a good spot, and that's where it should be. And the root was always fine too, I think. But just having that health regen, that's I don't know about that. I feel like she's still the most played support, it seems. And you know, you don't want to nerf them in the ground like they did with Morigesh, where it just completely, you know, they're unplayable. That's also a bad thing, right? You want to have FaZe be useful. You don't want her to be completely useless. But again, at the same time, I don't know. Maybe we just have to play a bit more to see. I feel like everybody's running Thick Blood nowadays, and that's the best way to counter FaZe is to run Thick Blood. I even run Thick Blood, as you see right here on my Chimera. It works gloriously. But I would like to see some more supports, you know. I feel like maybe nerfing FaZe isn't the problem. Maybe buffing all the other supports is the issue. I mean, I played some Narbash. I prefer Narbash over FaZe any day of the week. That's my fat little drummer dude, okay? He's my main man. He's my main squeeze. But I barely see him too. He's really good, but I barely see him too. I don't see any Muriel. Let's talk about the ones that aren't played at all. I don't see any Muriel. I don't see any Richter. Obviously, we haven't seen Richter in forever. I don't see any Steel for a really, really long time. These are supports that need some love, dude. They need some love. They really do. And just having FaZe all the time and maybe occasionally a Decker, it's kind of stale, bro. It's kind of boring. I mean, it's kind of like you have to play you had to play Revenant before his nerf. Now you kind of have to play Twin Blast if you want to be the best carry. With junglers, it's a bit easier. With junglers, you have Sevarog, Chimera, and Kwang. I think those are 3 really solid tanky junglers. They can all fill like the same tanky role, which is all really, really good. But when it comes to support, you don't get much variation. When it comes to Rangers, I mean, Sparrow is there too. Yin is there too, at least. You know, there's some variation when it comes to with the Marauders. I guess the carries, I should call them now. There's a lot of variation when it comes to offlaners. There's not much variation when it comes to supports. And I don't think the problem is adding more supports. I think it's just balancing the ones that are already there in the game. So, that's it for the discussion, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you have anything to add, please drop in the comment section below. I will greatly appreciate it. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. That's what these videos are for. Thank you guys so much for watching. And Epic, I'm gonna talk to you real soon about towers again, bud. We're gonna have a little chat. But until then, thank you all so much for watching. As always, make sure y'all have a wonderful day.